Welcome to this episode of Council Bluffs Today. I am Todd Studer, and we continue our highlight of folks that are currently putting their name into the hat to run for public office. And this is Steve McKern. Steve is on the ballot for the Pottawattamie County Board of Supervisors, and you are on the crowded Republican side.
I just call it the horde. I mean, there's like 9 of us.
There's nine running now, and there's 3 open seats, and only 3 are getting through the primaries.
Correct. So it's been really, really interesting, the fact of just dealing with, 9 people. And we've had a couple of forums already and talked about it. And I've only seen some of our candidates a couple times. And I've never done this before. So this is really new to me. I'm not sure where I'm at in the whole race. I mean, I really don't. I try to make it to the city councils, visit some of the cities around the county, and I'm not sure what all my opponents are doing. I mean, it's just really different, just trying to get a feel. I'm used to business where you kind of know where things are.
Yeah.
But this is just a completely different animal.
Well, I personally think that that approach would probably be better because you're worried about you. Mm-hmm. And instead of being in responsive mode, you can be out in the front and say, okay, this is what I believe, and this is the reasons that I'm running.
Right. And I think that in some ways, I think that's true. I mean, I'm really in this to run. I mean, I've got my reasons and why I'm doing it, and I'll just be frank. I retired a year ago, and I got bored. I mean, I know some people go, "Oh, I get so much more." I'm more busy when I'm retired. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, with me, I just didn't feel like I had a goal anymore. When you do that with business and everything, and I kind of got excited about this. I've never done it, but it was exciting to me to try to run for the board.
Tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, I grew up in the county. I've basically lived in Pot County my whole life. So grew up, went to Underwood, then college, but still lived here. Worked for 38 years. 28, I was an internal auditor. Most of that was with Woodman of the World, Woodman Life now. And
now the short building over.
Yeah, the short of the 3 now. Yeah, I was like, we're the biggest in Mississippi, from the Mississippi on. Now it's like, now I'm at number 3. And then worked for a couple Warner Enterprises and CSO insurance company in Omaha. And so I did that, like I say, for the 28 years, and probably half the time I was the chief internal auditor. So I kind of ran the audit shop, you would say, for the business. The other 10 years, I was the AVP or VP of Facilities and Internal Operations, which meant construction, strategic planning, disaster recovery, safety, security, a whole mess of everything that basically supported the business, mail, shipping, all that stuff too. So I kind of got a wide variety of a number of, hats to wear, I guess.
How do you feel all of that translates into a position on the board?
I think a lot of it is, I think there's a lot of things that kind of fall within the board scope. I mean, especially with construction and the roads and everything, but also I think with the understanding of what's kind of going on and picking up and learning things. I says a lot for me was that like with audit, you go into a place, with little background in it. You go in, you study, you learn how it works, then you make sure it works the way it is, and if it doesn't, then you report on that. And I kind of feel that way with the board and the fact that I'm going to go into something I'm not that familiar with, but I'm usually pretty good about picking up on how things work and run. So I think that I would be a good fit, I guess, because I think the board, there's always new things popping up, things changing all the time, too.
If you're looking for a laid-back spot with great food and even better company, it's the Mile Away on Old Lincoln Highway north of Council Bluffs. This family-run bar and grill is your go-to for mouth-watering wings, unbeatable weekly specials, and a welcoming atmosphere that feels like home. So, if you're catching a game, enjoying one of those specials, or just unwinding after a long day, the Mile Away has you covered. Open every day, Tuesday through Sunday at 8 for breakfast, and don't forget them at lunch and dinner time as well. It's the Mile Away, Old Lincoln Highway, north of Council Bluffs. Council Bluffs Today is brought to you by Keith Jones, your Edward Jones financial advisor in Council Bluffs. Learn how he can help you reach your financial goals. Visit edwardjones.com for more. Edward Jones, member SIPC. When did you first have the idea that you wanted to do it and then settled in on the decision?
I probably decided in January of this year. And I wasn't sure what all I was getting into, so I kind of did a little bit of research, trying to see what the board does, things they're involved with, and as I got closer to the, date to get my signatures in and run for the office, I got more excited about it. So, yeah, I says it's pretty exciting for me, I think.
How was the process of getting those signatures? I've never had to do it.
Oh my God. We ended up going, my wife and I went door to door in neighborhoods and talked to people. And it was something, I'm not a door to door guy. I've never done that either. So, but it was kind of, sorry.
No, you're fine. You would be amazed how many times that happens. It's okay.
Well, I need it.
This is real life. This
I
is
know,
not,
I know.
That's the idea. We're not sitting here at a radio station and trying to get a 3-minute soundbite.
Right.
That's not what we're doing. So I promise you it's okay.
So I was thinking, where were we?
Door knocking.
Door knocking. Oh, yeah. I met some people in my neighborhood I'd never met before, which was really interesting. And, went out to some other neighborhoods that the kids live in and stuff, and just walked around and met people. And in the end, it was actually a lot of fun. I mean, I had one person out of all the people we knocked on that said, no. He goes, I'm not signing your petition, you're Republican. And he goes, I'm really Republican, but I'm anti-Trump.
Okay.
And I said, I respect that, that's fine. But we stood there and talked probably 20 minutes. And he listened to me. He goes, "Well, you make sense." He goes, "I'll sign it." So then they invited us, some other time you'll have to come back and have dinner with us or whatever else. So I thought that was really nice. So
it is. You get out into the communities in which we live in, and you said something I think that was kind of poignant there for a lot of us. Mm-hmm. Who are our neighbors? How many of them do we actually know? Now, for some people, in places, they know them very well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
However, as you just experienced.
Well, and like he says, there were houses in, like you say, my neighborhood I've never been to. I never had met the people or anything else. And when growing up, I lived rurally in just outside Council Bluffs. You knew every car went by. Mm-hmm. You knew every person that lived there. You knew. It was like you knew everything that was going on, and it really has kind of changed that way. So, I think people need to get out a little more and meet their neighbors a little bit.
And back when you and I were young, I got a feeling we're fairly close to the same age.
We're in our 30s.
Exactly. Yeah. Somebody would come knock on the door. It was like a race to see who could get to the door first. Now, somebody knocks on the door, and I know I'm stealing something from a comedian, but everybody just... What's that?
What was it?
Who's here? So I don't know whether you ran into any of that or not, slowly opening the door and, okay.
Or you look, is it the Amazon guy or, something like that? Who's popping up on my door? But I just remember even as a kid, we go to bed at night and you left it outside, the doors open. Mm-hmm. You didn't lock things. No, it was just really quiet, peaceful, and everything else. And,
the screen door would be open.
Yeah, exactly. And you would get air in the house through letting the screen doors open. So it's just a different world than it was then. So, but
what are some of the things that these folks were talking to you about? I'm sure that everybody has concerns.
Well, of course, economy, cost, everything, property taxes. One big thing's windmills. That has really become a hot topic in Pot County. Mm-hmm. It's to the point I think people really kind of almost get upset just to talk about it. And I'm kind of one that I kind of lean against windmills. I think that I think it's something we need to stay away from right now. I mean, it's something we could come back years down the road, but I'm not big on the driving 80 and watching all these windmills popping up on the road. And I know that for the most part, the excess energy, you can't save it. There's no way to save it. And we don't have the battery capacity to do that. But a friend of mine works for OPPD, and I know they have windmills, and he's talking about down the road, 5 to 10 years, how much that'll change, battery capacity and just things like that, much smaller basis. So, and I'm hoping at that time we don't have 40-foot windmills with propellers on them, that we could use something on a much smaller basis that really doesn't conflict with the
topography of what's out there.
Yeah.
And I agree with you that, when you're driving along 80, or you can get up into the central part of Iowa, I know areas around Storm Lake and places up there, they're very congested with these windmills. And
I just think it takes away the beauty.
It takes away a lot of it.
People say, well, I'm driving 80, I'm going over these hills and stuff. But to me, that's, I've grown up with that. It's a great look for me. Mm-hmm. I love the fact, the way the state kind of lays out and difference in that. So
yeah, for me, about the prettiest drive is heading up north and east out of Council Bluffs and going up past Underwood or Neola, and you get up a little bit farther. Mm-hmm. And especially this time of year before the corn is tasseled, but everything is green.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a certain color that you don't get any other time of year. And I don't think you get anywhere else in the country.
I totally agree with you. I mean, just like you say, the corn, you just get into that certain spot, the beans even, everything on the way up there with all the farms and planting and stuff, the fields.
So you have obviously been in active campaigning mode because there is a primary coming up in just a couple of weeks.
Yep.
So what are some of the things that you've been doing? Just going around talking to people, or how have you been reaching them?
I've been going to some of the city council meetings, visiting with them. It's just interesting to see what their views are right now compared to what in the county. Forums, we've had the meetings where we've gotten together and went out and just had our chances where we can talk with the other candidates and hear their opinions too. But we've been door knocking, we've been sending out emails, text messages, putting signs up everywhere. Right. It's just been kind of hectic really right now. So I think there's more work to it than you really think when you start to run. So, but I says the best part just been meeting the people in the cities and around the county and just talking to them. So
this being the first time that you have ever done this, where's your comfort level in knowing that, okay, I'm going down the right path as far as campaigning goes? I'm not talking about, your positions or your platforms.
Right.
I'm just saying there's a method to this,
sure.
and it's kind of learn as you go, right?
Right now I think I'm hitting everything. I think I'm hitting every possible way you can get out to people and let them know what I stand for and things like that. So
it is a tough way to do a job interview, though, isn't it?
Yes. My wife, who works in HR, she said, I think this is the longest job interview I've ever seen somebody have to do. I go, and just think that just to get you through the primary, that didn't even get the next 5 months to get to the general election. So,
well, as it continues on, and obviously the goal is to be one of the top 3 in the primary to be able to move on to the general election. Can you think about that at all, or is it just a June 2nd deadline right now?
I'm just doing everything I can to try to get as many votes as I can, and meet with people and stuff. So I have no idea what it's going to take to be one of the top 3, how many votes are going to be needed.
Well, yeah, there's no way of knowing who's going to show up.
I mean, I can look at past history, and so I don't know, like with windmills and data centers, that those topics that are really driving people to get to the polls and really put a vote in one way or the other. So, I'm just doing what I can.
Service Master Restore by Schmader knows it can be hard to get things back to normal when you've suffered serious property damage due to flooding, fire, or smoke, and that can oftentimes lead to mold, and you may be left with all sorts of questions about how to get your home or business back to normal. It's easy. You give Cindy Schmader a call with Service Master Restore by Schmader. Her phone number, 402-339-9911. Technology should work for you, not against you. At ThinkSpace IT, they provide expert IT solutions to keep your business running smoothly and securely. From cybersecurity and cloud services to network management and tech support, they simplify IT so you can focus on what matters most. Stay protected, stay connected, stay ahead. Visit ThinkSpaceIT.com. Well, you brought up data centers, and there has been a lot of negative press lately about them.
Yep.
Where do you stand on that? What are some of the things that you think about where that's concerned?
My biggest thing, Todd, is I just don't want to see a lot of costs from data centers getting somehow passed to the people in the county. I am concerned. I've read on the data centers. I've seen there was one in Georgia that they used 30 million gallons and they didn't know it, and their water table dropped. And with the electricity, I see if you go out 6, we have these large metal posts getting ready to be put in the ground, and just to see and the water usage, and I need to feel like I need to be more informed on that, I guess, going forward. I'm just concerned with the electricity and the amount of water this thing's going to take for people in the county. And I think the people in the county are feeling the same way in most cases. So
Yeah, as I was watching some of these programs talking about it and listening to some of the concerns of the people that they were interviewing, that's something I didn't consider, is just the level of electricity these things take.
Oh yeah.
And at times, the way that it sounded, because I was watching one that I think was in Pennsylvania, that had actually gone past the capacity of what that area had to do electricity. So now you're building something new to handle that, and that wasn't falling on the data center to pay for it.
Right.
So yeah, I get it completely.
I think then that's where a lot of people are concerned, is just the water and the electricity usage. I mean, I think for the most part, people like data centers. The speed of things and the processing and everything else, but you got to have the resources to it, and I just don't want to see us have a shortfall in our resources because of the data center. So
well, these are also big things that get the headlines. There's a lot of stuff that goes on the Board of Supervisors. It's just kind of running in the background all the way down to, okay, are we paving this road or this road? And that kind of thing. And it can sometimes, in my opinion anyway, be a thankless job.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no possible way you can keep everybody happy.
No, and especially with a county this big. It's playing, it's just trying to get everything in line together, and you're always going to have two factions to everything. So no matter what you do, you're always going to have some people that are unhappy. And I hope from doing this, I would like to see the cities and the county have better communication. I would really like to see them work together more. As I go to these city council meetings, sometimes I think there's some disconnect, and I think they should be sharing more information than what they're doing with each other. In fact, I'd like to see board members actively going to some of these city council meetings, or at least Zooming in, or either phone calls, just to find out what's going on in each of these cities, since they so much overlap between the two. So I know that'll be a different, something different from the board, but I think it's something that's necessary.
Well, as you getting closer and closer now to primary time, does it ramp things up for you? Do you feel like you're kind of in a groove with how you're doing, or is there starting to be even more of an urgency?
Maybe more of an urgency. Yeah. It just seems like you wake up in the morning and you're thinking, hey, what am I missing something? And I know I need to do these things, but is there something else I should be going about and doing? And I've got my wife. She's like all on top of these things. She's reading things off every day. I got notes for you, she says, and she'll pop these things up to me and we'll go over them together. So
it's I've talked with other candidates about this thing, and it applies to everyone, that you can do everything that you can do, and you can be out reaching as many people as you can. What you can't do is force someone to the ballot, and you can't put a pencil in their hand and say, okay, you're marking right here. Right. That part's completely out of your control. So the measure of whether you're being successful or not is unknown.
Right.
It's tough to get a feel for it.
ICE is as big as the county is. You can't cover everything. I mean, you can put signs out there, but you can't cover every road, every house, everything in this county. So you just try to hit strategic points and hope that you're hitting the right points for people.
That I've always wondered about that, even going back to when I was a kid, that with the campaign signs that you see in people's yards, all right, there's a name, sometimes for the office they're running for, sometimes their political party, and that's it. That's what you see. How is this helping me make a decision?
True.
And I've always wondered that. Going, like I said, going back to when I was young, but yet it continues. And something else that I do know, and I bet you know this too from being in business for as long as you were. If it didn't work, they wouldn't do it.
Right.
So something about it is effective.
And I think a lot of times when you put the signs out, you're hoping that people will go out. And now with social media, I mean, that you go out, look at that name, and then look it up and, see what they stand for. You don't know if they're doing it or not, but that's your big
That's your hope.
Yeah.
That's just like a starting point.
Yes.
Kind of a stepping off point that, okay, here's this person. Who's he, what does he represent or what does she represent? And try to make a decision there. But at the same time, I mean, you have to have that information out there somewhere for them to be able to see it. And if you're 100% dependent on other people providing that, then you don't have control of your own narrative.
No. And that's why he says it's been interesting is almost every sign I've put out. Almost the door knocking, we've had some help, but still been involved with that. And the social media, I have to do all that. So, I mean, I'm pretty invested in what's going on in my campaign. So, but like you say too, it's like I can't take people and have them go vote. So I'm just hoping I hit enough of the issues that it triggers them to go in and vote for me, I guess. So.
Well, while we still have just a few minutes here, give me your elevator pitch. If you have just a short time to have a conversation, such as on somebody's front porch,
sure.
What are you telling them?
There's 4 main things I'd like out of the board. I'd like the trust to get back. I think in talking with people, there's a little hesitancy with them regarding, what the board's doing. I think there's some issues that have happened in the past. So I'd like to get that back to where, people have faith in the board of supervisors. Second, balanced budget. I want to make sure that we don't overspend. I want to make sure our money's put in places it should be. I think there's ways, that we can drive some revenue even. And that's even with like Hitchcock and things like that. Third, roads. I grew up on a gravel road. It's horrible. I mean, it's tough. So I would like to see the county start advancing to better roads. Other options, maybe you can do ground concrete, you can do ground up asphalt, you can do pea gravel. There's even a county here that, in I think Buchanan, that's looking at a plastic that they mix with gravel. So I think there's other options. I'd really like to see us go down those roads. And last but not least, I want us to be business centric. I want us to really be aware of what's going on around us and see what other, businesses are available out there. So, and make it so we can help support those and bring those to the county.
Well, Steve McKern is running for Pottawattamie County Board of Supervisors. Hopefully you've learned a little bit more about Steve today. I know that I have. Thank you very much for coming in and joining us today. And wish you the best of luck. Stay safe out there. I know you got a lot of hours ahead of you over the next couple of weeks. And appreciate you. This is something I've told everybody that's running for office, that we're grateful. And I think I can speak for other people. We're grateful for your willingness to step into that arena. Because it's not always a pleasant place to be. No. But you're out there getting it.
I says it's something at least that I wanted to do at least once, I guess, after I got done working, I guess. So this is my shot right here. So.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for being in here today. We also thank you for watching this episode of Council Bluffs Today. Please click the like, follow, or share button. That helps the algorithm push this information out even farther, and even more people can see what's going on in our little corner of the world. My name is Todd Studer, and we'll see you next time.